How is everyone doing today? And in this video, we are going to be doing something a little special, especially when looking at the 1.1 patch with Chingy now with us. A lot of people are excited for Jane Doe, and what better way to get that excitement started but with a showcase of how Jane works and how she plays, which thankfully enough, we do get to play her in the story from the newest patch that we have out right now. Later on, you get to play with a bunch of characters. I'm gonna have videos on Seth, I'm gonna have a video on Jane today, and we're gonna be looking through their kit, talk about how strong they are and how they feel by themselves, because of course, as they start letting us make our own teams and us being able to showcase them with their best teammates, yeah, these characters are going to get absurd. And I mean that for both Seth and Jane Doe. So both these characters are going to be super exciting to play with and really fun to have for the most part, because I know a lot of people are really excited to have Jane on their account once she ends up dropping with Seth as well. So we will have a video dedicated to Seth as well. But before we get into all that, make sure you have a like, comment, sub, all the different type of stuff, and let me know how excited you are for Jane, because this showcase is going to be super cool. But to start off with the first portion of her kit, or the thing I want to talk about, is going to be looking at Jane's kit. And Jane's kit has a lot to her, but I do think this is a really cool thing to look at, because this allows us to get a first initial look on how she works and also how she plays. So we're gonna go over her kit, and then we're also going to look at how she ends up looking in gameplay, how it ends up feeling, and how strong she is. So for the most part, something really interesting about Jane that we're going to be looking at is that she does have this bar called passion, and this is going to allow you to fill it up as you are attacking, and you also get bumps and increases for this gauge when you end up doing a dodge attack, a quick assist, or anything like that, and it gives you more anomaly proficiency, and you also get access to one extra move once you are in the passion state. I think this is just overall really cool to see when it comes to a character changing their kit depending on the amount of damage that they're doing, when it comes to allowing them to get a higher damage ceiling from being able to fill up that gauge. And it seems like they're going in that route for a lot of different characters, because both Jane has this type of gauge, and also Seth, he has ways to fill up his gauge, allowing him to do extra moves as well, which is really creative on Zenless Zone Zero's team, which are doing absolutely amazing in building out these characters and making them feel all different. So the reason why you want to be in this passion state is because she's going to be increasing her own physical anomaly buildup rate by 25%, and that is going to be absolutely amazing, allowing you to get those extra assaults off, which are going to do absolute nukes because of one thing in her kit that we're going to talk about in a quick moment. But when she's inside her passion state, she's actually able to give herself more of the gauge. If you're using the perfect dodge or the defense assist, you will be getting more of your passion state while you are inside it. You do lose a portion of this gauge when you are attacking, so this is something you want to make note of. So making sure to put in those dodges, making sure to throw in those defensive assists will allow you to actually end up getting more of that gauge and allowing you to do a little bit more damage for a little bit longer before you get reset back into your blue portion of the bar when you're actually building up passion state. So the cool thing about this is that when you are in passion state, you actually get a hold attack, which is going to help you inflict a lot of extra anomaly onto the enemy and allow you to get that assault off really quickly. Think of it in some way, shape, or form something like Piper has when it comes to using the spin that she has. She's able to do the same exact thing, but it's a part of her passion state. Now, the thing about this is that she does take reduced damage when being in this spin, because you are left a little bit vulnerable from this, and not being able to take, I guess you could say, the most advantage of that situation of using the full spin is going to hurt Jane's performance quite a bit. So it's a really good thing that they actually allow us to be able to get that reduced damage. That way we're able to tank a bit of it before we have to switch out and parry or anything like that. They also increase the anti-interrupt level as we hit consecutive attacks, so that's a really good thing, so that we don't get thrown off of the spin from getting hit a couple of times. So this is a really good thing for her as well. And at the very last portion of this move, you are invulnerable, which is going to allow us to time not only the moment we're about to get hit, it allows us to do that final bit of damage. We don't have to worry about getting hit and flung around when we're in this spin, and while you're using this spin as well, you will be regenerating part of the passion gauge as well, which is a really cool thing. So you're able to have multiple different ways when it comes to dodging, when it comes to holding the hold attack. You are able to go ahead and get more passion gauge, keeping you in that state longer, allowing you to build up this anomaly build up rate really quickly and keeping it on for as much as possible, which you want, of course, to be able to proc as many assaults as possible. Going lower into her kit, looking at her skill, and also looking at what else that she has, she does have a aerial hit that is really cool looking, especially when you're in your passion state, which I think is a really fun addition to the actual gameplay of Jane Doe. And not only that, you also have a double dodge with Jane. So not only do you have one extra dodge compared to everyone else. Really unique to Jane herself. It looks really good from the back position and of course the front position as well. The main thing I want to talk about today, of course, is looking at not only her, the core passive, but also the team passive as well. The core passive that she has is what makes Jane so nasty and something that's going to allow you to do amazing, and I mean amazing, damage as well. But looking at her chain attack really quickly, when you do use her chain attack, she will enter passion state and it will give you the max amount of the gauge as well. So you want to make sure when you're getting the chance to do a 2-chain or a 3-chain attack when it comes to the bosses you're fighting or the enemies that you are fighting, you're making sure to come in with Jane Doe, because this does allow you to get the full gauge and you're automatically in that mode as well, allowing you to go ahead and start with your DPS as soon as you get in with Jane Doe. So you really want to make sure that you're using her chain attack whenever possible, and the same thing goes for her ultimate. Whenever you run out of the passion gauge, you are using her ultimate to get right back into it with the max gauge, which is very important. And the reason why I am very excited to look at her core passive and her team skills, because I do think this is where a lot of the really cool portions of her kit come from, and it just looks really insane. Looking at her first portion of her kit, which is Insight, when Jane attacks hit an enemy, it causes them to enter the nod state for 10 seconds. If any squad member triggers assault on an enemy in the nod state, it causes flinch effect. The flinch effect duration is extended by 5 seconds, and the assault damage has a chance to trigger a critical hit with a base crit rate of 31% and a crit damage of 50%. Each point of Jane's Anomaly proficiency further increases this crit rate by 0.13%. The fact that we're now allowed to make assault damage crit is absolutely insane when looking that we could have something like Jane Doe, possibly Piper on the team, because not only is she allowed to get this off with other characters' assaults, she also in her core passive or her team passive only needs an Anomaly character or a character from the same faction. So this is absolutely huge for someone like Jane Doe. She's not constricted to just one faction or one element type. She actually can work with any Anomaly character, and this means that having the dual Anomaly setup, something I've mentioned a long time before Anomaly got introduced as this really big damage type that now is fixed in 1.1, is allowed to do days now. You're actually able to do so much with this, having someone like Piper, Jane, and let's say Seth, because Seth is also a character that buffs Anomaly proficiency, and we'll talk more about that as time goes by when I make that video tomorrow. But looking at Jane, she can make assault crit, absolutely insane. She's able to increase her Anomaly build-up rate when she's with another Anomaly character or someone in the same faction. So having someone like Seth on the team, having someone like Chingy on the team, having someone like Piper, Grace, all these other Anomaly characters on the team is going to make for some absolutely amazing teams, and I cannot wait. I'm glad they went down this route of Anomaly character or faction, because this allows her to be able to be grouped up with a bunch of different characters, and I do think allowing the assault to crit is a huge boost for Disorder. I think assault right now is by far one of the stronger reactions in this game, just because of how hard it hits and the fact that it now can crit. That took it to a whole new level. But let's go ahead and actually watch some gameplay of Jane being able to do her damage and showing off how she works against enemies. As you see, this is me in the passion state already with this gauge, and this flashing red light that you see at the top left, this is going to be the hold attack meter, which it tells you if you still have one available, because you only get one hold attack per passion state, I guess you could say. So you want to make sure that you're refilling it as fast as possible, and you're making sure to use this hold attack whenever you get the chance to use it. When you're inside the passion state, you do get these enhanced dodges that look really freaking cool, and the main thing about it is, of course, we're getting that extra Anomaly proficiency, which allows us to do more damage to the enemies when we hit them with the assault. And this is some in-game footage of how Jane plays, and that spin equally as satisfying as something like Piper in the game. It's so cool to see, and she has a lot of AoE. If there's a lot of enemies grouped around her, you will be doing a crap ton of damage just because of how fast she's able to take care of a lot of these enemies all at once. It's a really cool thing to see, and she's just a really nice character to play around with when it comes to how she works and how she plays the game. Now, sadly enough, we didn't get the chance to play with her with any team we wanted, like how we have Zhu Yin or someone like the other trial characters that we've been able to play with. We only got to play with her by herself, and then her with Seth, which I will be showing in a quick minute. But this is just overall a really quick snippet of how she plays. Really fast paced. I really like how that enemy got evaporated with how fast that ended up finishing off. But the main thing I really like about this is that not only did we get the chance to be able to play with Jane Doe, we got to see how she feels, and she just feels very fast, very smooth, which I think is a really good direction for a lot of these characters in the game to start feeling like, because it felt a little bit slower at the start with the characters that we currently have. But now that we've seen these new 5 stars coming up in the game, you're seeing a lot of massive improvements to not only allowing these characters to be a lot more creative, allowing them to break the rules of what we've known so far with allowing now disorders to crit or assaults to crit, but she's also, all these characters are feeling so much better. And especially with how creative they're getting with most of these characters' kits when it comes to Seth being able to, and I'm getting into more topics on the next video I'm going to make, but the fact that Seth can chain his skill into any portion of his kit is absolutely insane, and something so cool that we're seeing a lot of new mechanics come into the game of being able to follow up moves with other skills, being able to follow up moves from other portions of their kit. Just really cool to see. And also looking at her ultimate that we got to see right here as well, a lot of anomaly build up, a very big range as well. Anybody caught in this will get evaporated from that assault. Just overall really cool aspects to this character's kit, and overall really good a feel of how this character is used. I just really like Jane Doe. I think she's going to be an enormous pickup for a lot of different people when it comes to a brand new DPS, when it comes to understanding how assault works and how disorders work. I knew Anomaly was going to be good as time went by. I didn't know it was going to be this good when I got to play with Jane. I think Jane is going to be the character that's going to propel Anomaly into a whole nother world, because a lot of people were sleeping on Anomaly, a lot of people were sleeping on how much damage these can do, and now that she can make these assaults crit, that is a little bit absurd for the most part. Now, I don't know exactly what build they did give this Jane. We don't know if she's on the Anomaly proficiency set. We don't know if she's on the physical set. So we're gonna have to wait until we're able to showcase them ourselves for when we get to use the certain set bonuses and see how each one works with Jane and which one does more damage. But overall, Jane's gameplay just feels so nice, and she's such a cool character. I wish I would have been able to play with any characters I would have chosen with, because I would have definitely chose something like Seth, something like with Piper, having 2 Anomaly characters all at once, so you're able to proc assaults back to back to back. That would be some really cool things to see. But to see her work in a team and how she works in gameplay, I'm trying to skip all the story stuff so y'all don't get spoiled. You get to see that this is some nasty damage that they're able to do. It's overall really cool to see how she works with a teammate, how they're able to fill each other's gauges, how they're able to proc anomalies off of each other, which I cannot wait to see. I think seeing her with another Anomaly character is definitely going to be super fun, and seeing her with another teammate, let's say a support, a dazer, is going to be a pretty big deal. Now, I do see that her hold attack isn't as crazy for Anomaly buildup as I would want it to. I don't know if it's because she's not built on an elemental mastery but Anomaly mastery, or she's not put on the right set, or it's just overall that's the gimmick of the hold attack, where it's just there to increase your gauge for your passion state. So that is one thing I do want to look at when I get the chance to showcase her. But you get to see some nasty damage come out. You're gonna see, I think, 100k here. Yeah, 105k assault off of Jane. That is absolutely insane. And that's not even considering the disorder damage we did as well. And also for us having a character like Seth, who's helping buffing us out, we don't know what he's on either. So we could take Jane's Anomaly damage and throw it into a whole new stratosphere when it comes to the damage that Anomaly characters are going to give. I think Jane is a really cool character. Jane is a super exciting character, and I'm just really happy to see where these characters are going with Zenless. This is showing a lot of new approaches to characters' kits, and every character feels different. That is 137k assaults right there. Holy crap, that is absolutely insane. Right, look at this, 137k assault. This is gonna get even higher as we're able to build our own characters, as we have better substats, as we're able to showcase them off with our own teams. Let's say pairing this up with something like Rena for the penetration ratio, having something like Nicole for the 40% decreased defense. Yeah, we're gonna hit some crazy numbers, and this is just with Seth on the team. I can't imagine having someone like Jane Doe, Seth, and maybe Nicole. That's a possibility because you're still getting that faction bonus from Jane Doe. You could probably do something like Ching Yi with what is it called, Jane Doe and Piper, or Nicole, Ching Yi and Piper. Oh my, there's a lot of stuff that's happening right now in my head when it comes to thinking of teams to build out with Jane. I think she's going to be super fun to try out, and I do think she's going to be the start of the, not the disorder meta. I do think disorder is going to be right there with regular hyper carry comps or regular main DPS comps, like with Zhu Yin and also with Ellen. But I do think it's going to allow people to try and work around and understand the disorder system, the anomaly system in the game, which I think is a huge thing, because there's always that one character that introduces us to a stat that a lot of people looked over, how Kazuha was the start, or Sucrose was the start of Elemental Mastery, how a lot of people didn't look at Break Effect until Ruan Mei came into the game, or Harmony MC. A lot of really cool stuff that came out with this 1.1 patch, and they're just doing so well in taking care of Zenless Zone Zero and all the characters coming out as well. But other than that, that's pretty much it when it comes to this video. When looking at Jane Doe, I will have a video talking about Seth, because I do think he is by far one of the more interesting characters in 1.1, because he brings a brand new mechanic, or two brand new mechanics into the game that I just absolutely love. So other than that, thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure you leave a like, comment, stuff, all the different type of stuff. See y'all on the next one, and peace.